Betsy and Thomas here for the American Intelligence Media. On, where was it, December 17th in Atlanta, there was, as everyone knows by now, some kind of blackout in the airport that caused quite the havoc. But what people are noting is that the flight logs show that a single Israeli plane secretly flew out of Atlanta during this airport blackout. So we waited until we got enough intel to be able to discern what may have happened here. I asked our in-house political genius, Thomas Paine, to look at this for us, and he does have a report now as to what he believes occurred that evening.
Oh, Betsy, you give me much too much credit. First off, I'm not a genius. Second off, I didn't really study this case. And third off, I just use simple logic. When people were all freaked out about this for days and you kept mentioning it, I ignored it. And then, of course, when you said to look at it, of course, I said, let me guess, an unmarked Israeli plane. And then we looked, and yes, it is. And that Israeli plane has almost diplomatic immunity, basic custom immunity. They're able to load and unload without any customs officials looking at that plane. What are they allowed to carry? They're allowed to carry exotic animals in cages. They have a part that is refrigerated because they have so many special drugs. They don't even tell you what kind of drugs that they're able to ship as their cargo. But these drugs basically are, they have protections that I've never even seen. So when I looked at what that Israeli company is allowed to ship, it was very simple what's going on. This is my guess, my estimation. Undoubtedly, what they told us about the story of the blackout is untrue. We know that almost every blackout is a chance for them to install more net bots, or that they are anything but what they say they are. So what did they say? A small fire caused one of the largest airports in the world to close down.
Really? Oh, they had no generators?
No generators, no backup, no nothing. And for, what was it? I didn't even look into it, 7-8 hours or something?
It doesn't matter. But during this time where other planes weren't able to take off and land, we have this one cargo plane that was allowed to.
Well, I would suggest, and I didn't look into it, but when they say a small fire caused it, then that was probably an experimentation of one of two things. Either they turned it off on purpose to install the net bots, which is what usually these blackouts are about. I don't think that happened. I think this was some kind of attack. I think it was an electromagnetic pulse bomb, more than likely, because that's the only thing that would take an electronic system, electrical system, and all the electricity to come back up in an entire airport. Why would it take so long? And why would a small localized fire cause that? An EMP explosion, a blast, which could be done with a very, very small device, could cause that and would cause the system to have great difficulties coming back online. But that isn't the issue. Am I saying that this Israeli plane caused that to happen? No. I'm saying the Israelis do whatever the heck they want. How is there such a thing as a company that has the ability to go from country to country without customs looking at the cargo, that they are pre-approved? You look at their site. I looked at their site. It states this right on their page. They're very proud of the fact that they can get you illegal drugs and humans and whatever else it is that you're shipping on these planes, these unmarked Israeli planes.
Now, this plane originated from Mexico City at 1 p.m. on Sunday,
bringing its drugs to Atlanta, the number one place for human trafficking. Drop off the drugs, pick up the humans, then go to Cyprus.
No, it didn't go to Cyprus. It went to Liège, Belgium.
Oh, Liège, Belgium,
right,
which is the number one place in Europe for the import and export of human trafficking.
Well, they call it that they went there because it was the hub.
Oh, it's the hub. It's the hub of drugs, human trafficking, and any other kind of cargo that this plane is allowed to bring in and out without customs looking at it. And then they went to Cyprus, which is where they laundered their money in some offshore account, one of the biggest places in the world for that, and also to drop off any drugs or human trafficking cargo that they had there, any other cargo that they had. So this, and then back to Israel, and then they get the money and they start all over again. Now, this is absurd that anyone would think that this was anything than standard operating procedure. The Israelis and the ex-Israeli Mossad, the Secret Service, rule The Israelis came in and they spied and monitored on our own Congress. We did nothing about it. We know they're in all of our systems. We do nothing about it. There are friends who actually are our biggest hackers. And 911, we have the pictures. We showed this in our intelligence reports of the ex-Israeli Mossad and Israeli army explosion experts putting the explosions on the World Trade Center buildings. And we exposed all of that. There were, 40-some Israelis who were picked up, who were suspicious that day, some of whom the stories are absolutely amazing, that they had a truck which had a picture of the World Trade Center with a plane flying into it, that they were driving around, that they had already told people that there was going to be a bomb. No, the Israelis are always dirty. Why do you think the Saudi Arabian Secret Service and the Israelis, Mossad, and Israel itself is working with Saudi Arabia right now? What they're supposed to be deathly enemies, because they're in everything. We've explained how ISIS is oftentimes ex-patriot Russians who enter into Israeli Mossad, who then get out of the Mossad and become basically rogue Mossad, who become the mercenaries who were ISIS. You can see the tattoos on their body that say who they are. So we're not hidden. We don't like to go into that too much, but the Israelis get to do whatever they want. And this plane flew out, not necessarily because it was any relationship to the blackout. It's because they do whatever they want, and you're not going to stop them. So if you don't know that there are Christian Zionists, as well as Jewish Zionists, as well as Buddhist Zionists, and if you don't understand what a Zionist is and that is not Israel, then you don't really understand what I'm talking about. But basically, that was a drug and human trafficking cargo plane that they couldn't be bothered with stopping and letting that blackout bother them.